can begin negotiating at noon today. I would think that at some point later today, this afternoon, quarterback dominoes will absolutely start falling.
Okay, Orlovsky, go.
The number one place right now for a starting quarterback job in that league that is open is the Pittsburgh Steelers since they acquired DK Metcalf. So if I'm Aaron Rodgers, if I'm Sam Darnold, that's the place that I want to go to. If they are going to keep George Pickens, I understand Clint Kubiak's in Seattle and Sam Darnold has a past with him.
No,
that is a very different football team.
I told you you got him for the segment.
Very
Keep going.
football
That's
team.
Schefter on the phone. Keep going.
Yeah, very different football team offensively than they were 48 hours ago. So the Steelers have now become the destination spot for a starting quarterback for me.
You agree with that, Teddy?
There is already, I mean, I understand legal tampering, and I understand when it's really done, but this is the quarterback position we're talking about. These already, I think Seattle, things like that. When you listen,
what are you trying to say?
They tell you one thing, but what they do is another. It's the NFL truth, I call it. It's what they do, not what they say. Seattle has a plan. It feels like Sam Darnold because they're just not stupid enough to trade away their quarterback and their receiver and to say, you know what, let's see if we can get this guy. Now let's see if we can get that. No, these moves were made because it was already in place.
And to that point, Dano, here's where I would push back. They probably talked to him about Smith and Jigba. He's our future. We're going to move on from Lockett. We're going to move on from DK, and we're going to draft a skilled player in the first round. So I'm sure Sam Darnold is very comfortable with the plan longer term in Seattle. Again,
it's not legal for them to have talked to Sam Darnold yet.
Hypothetically, right.
But let's cut through that. Everyone is tap dancing around saying something. I've got a general manager sitting here.
Right.
These conversations are taking place.
1,000%. Again, Seattle runs a good ship. They are not giving away a quarterback without having a plan in place. That plan, presumptively, is going to be Sam Darnold, who we all believe will sign today. If not, they would not have traded Geno Smith. But they made a decision that, hey, we went to Geno Smith with an extension. That number was X. We'd rather have Sam Darnold at this price with a third-round pick. That sounds like good business. Now, I understand, Dan, sitting here on March 10th at 8:50 in the morning, George Pickens and DK Metcalf looks a lot better than Smith and Jigba and a question mark. But when you're recruiting a player like we have, you say, hey, here's the group of players that we're looking at. It's going to be a skilled player in the first round, whatever it may be.
Yeah. And Smith and Jigba is good.
He's a stud.
I mean,
Smith and Jigba is a stud.
You want to roll the dice on the linebacker position or something like that. I mean, you don't do this.
Right.
You don't do it with quarterbacks.
And that's a linebacker saying.
I'm just saying, it's reality. It's reality. If I'm on the team, I don't want you messing around. Make sure we got somebody coming in, Coach.
Do you agree with Dan Orlovsky's point that right now, if you're a quarterback with all the options in the world, listen, we're not exactly, the people we're talking about here are not Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, right? We're not.
Correct.
We don't have that.
Those
available.
guys don't hit the market.
But the guys who are on the market are the guys who are on the market. If you're the one who has the most options, is Pittsburgh the best choice?
Does Minnesota feel strongly about J.J. McCarthy?
Okay,
I mean, is that your starter? I mean, can you say, I can come in and start for you and throw to Justin Jefferson and Addison and have all these weapons with me there, a great head coach and offensive play caller? Are you committed to him? If you are, all right, then, yes, I got to move to Pittsburgh.
I like that. But the point is, if you think you have a real shot at having the starting job in Minnesota, that's the spot that you want to go. That makes sense to me. Orlovsky, get back in here.
Not even close. It's Pittsburgh. Minnesota, yes, but he's going to be too expensive for Minnesota. Okay, now that the Geno Smith trade happened, he's going to be too expensive. It's Pittsburgh. It's not even close. You know how difficult it's going to be for a quarterback to go from J.J. and Addison and Hawkinson and that offensive line and that play scheme to go to and JSN's awesome. Jackson Smith and Jigba's awesome, but he's not those guys yet. Instead, you could go to Pittsburgh, and that offensive line needs to get better. There's no doubt. But you have Pickens and you have DK Metcalf to throw the ball to, on top of Pat Freiermuth, who's a really good tight end. This isn't close. The destination that is the best place for a quarterback to go to right now, overnight became the Pittsburgh Steelers, as long as they keep George Pickens.
Sometimes for players, being comfortable is more important than the best situation. Okay, and with Sam Darnold and knowing, I mean, he's got coaches at every level that know him all the way from college. I think the strength coach was at USC when he was there. But sometimes that's more important, rather the quarterback thinking, I will make it work, rather than then. We got two great receivers over there in a great situation. It would be much harder for him, much more work to deal with these two receivers. He would be much more comfortable in Seattle.
Seattle's a lot better right now at running back. Seattle's going to be active in free agency on the offensive line. Seattle, as a result of the trades they made this weekend, have 5 of the first 92 picks in the NFL draft. Seattle's in good shape to get better quickly.
Greedy, here's what's fascinating to me. The Pittsburgh Steelers has transformed themselves literally overnight. For weeks we've been seeing here,
yes,
Russell Wilson or Justin Fields, they're a 9-win team, one and done. Look what they're doing. If they come out of this with DK Metcalf and Aaron Rodgers, give them a ton of credit. They're saying they weren't good enough. They got a Hall of Fame coach. I think it's more fascinating than anything else that we've seen over the last 48 hours.
Schefter, get back in here.
Well, we don't know who the Steelers quarterback is going to be, and that really remains the question. It gets us back to where we started the segment, because we're talking about all these quarterbacks. If Justin Fields was so intent about being in Pittsburgh, Mike, if you had a player as the former general manager of the Jets, and you were trying to re-sign him, and he wasn't re-signing, and he wanted to talk to another team when the market opened, would you be concerned about his chances of staying?
Yeah, I'm on the phone with Aaron Rodgers, and I'm not getting off. I'm assuming that Justin Fields has moved on. I've been in that situation plenty of times. When you're actively engaged with retaining your own, and you hear, hey, we want to explore options, it's the old Coach Parcells. You're looking, we're looking, so everyone's looking, so all bets are off. And there's no doubt in my mind, if I'm the Steelers and we don't have, look, we've seen, Adam, you've reported a gazillion deals over the last couple of days. The fact that Fields isn't signed tells me everything I need to know, which it's likely he is gone.
I wouldn't say likely. I think it's in question. I think it's in question. And what I don't know is whether he's leveraging the Steelers against the Jets or the Jets against the Steelers. But here's the bottom line. I would think that Pittsburgh's made a fair offer by now. If he wanted to be there, he could take them. But let's not forget, last year, Pittsburgh did bench Justin Fields. And so as much as it wants to keep him now, it benched him last year. And now we've got a new regime in New York, and they're probably saying to him, and we'll be saying to him, look, come be our guy here with the Jets. This is going to be your offense. We want you here. That team benched you. And so there's some questions here. Justin Fields might go back to Pittsburgh, but the fact that he hasn't taken their deal has raised a number of other options. And as Mike said, everyone's looking right now.
I think it's great. Justin Fields basically is saying, yes, I took it all personal. I remember what you did. Yeah, I can play good soldier when I have to, but now when a player is doing things to where I want to enter free agency and do that, you're telling the organization and the team that I do not want to be there. There are other things out there that, and I remember what you did. Players take things personal.
Graziano, there are 3 words that I've barely heard in this conversation, and they are New York Giants.
Yeah.
What?
I think the New York Giants, as Adam alluded to, I think are hoping that Aaron Rodgers will be, an option for them.
We'll have no other choice but to go there.
Well, again, like if Seattle or Minnesota or Pittsburgh is interested in Aaron Rodgers, I think he would prefer those over the Giants. If not, I think he knows the Giants are a possibility for him, and he may well end up there.
Greedy, the old axiom, hope is not a strategy. That